What's going on, everybody?
Welcome
back to the Juice, man. We're here with another.
back-to-backers. This won't be back-to-back for y'all.
Yeah, if you're wondering why we're in the same clothes as the previous episode.
We're doing a back-to-back.
Back to back.
We just recorded with Mr. Dakota.
Like the Cowboys in the playoffs. Back to back. First round
losses. Stop talking about the dang Cowboys.
Anyways, man, we're going to have Mr. John Soukup.
Yep, Elite Series Pro.
Is it Soukup?
Soukup.
Soukup.
You're going to make me mess it up if you keep doing that.
Yeah.
John Soukup.
Bassmaster Elite Series Pro.
Fished the NPFL for 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, won a couple of trophies over there.
Yeah, kick some hiney over there.
They got some big trophies over there. You want them?
They do have big trophies.
Yep, big shields.
I'm a big hardware guy. You know that. Love trophies. Not participation trophies.
A lot of people know him from the Bass Tank as well.
Yes.
But no longer.
No longer involved.
What is he involved with now?
We'll let him on here and tell his story, but Save More Outdoors, he started a new company there. So, interesting guy. I've talked to him a lot. I know Wyatt hasn't never talked to him, but he's sharp, man. Dude's a smart cat.
I remember we made it in the opens, though.
And he's a great fisherman. So, we're going to talk about a bunch of things. I know he didn't have the greatest year on the Elites.
Yeah, walk through that.
But I think he's hungrier than ever. Mad at him. Stepping up the social media game. He's doing big things, man. He's a large fella doing large things.
Yes. I'm excited to have him on and talk to him about everything that he's got going on.
But, yeah, we're doing back-to-back here, so we're probably going to drop the Dakota episode hopefully tonight, Tuesday the 16th.
Yeah, so hopefully
I doubt it. Internet
Wednesday,
sucks.
The next day. But, yeah, this episode will be after that.
Yeah, we just wanted to knock out a couple in a row while we're here, make time while we can't be out there because it's 25 degrees blowing 30 miles an hour.
Making business decisions.
Yes. Yes. Well, we don't need to drag this intro on any longer. I think we're ready to get him on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why'd you mute us?
I don't know. Felt like it was necessary.
Who am I calling in? John Soukup. There he is. He is a large man. Have you ever seen him in person?
Yeah. Fish opens against him 1 year. He made it.
Big fella.
Not old.
Beard.
Hello.
Hey, man. What's going on?
Oh, just hanging out.
Well,
waiting for a phone call.
Well, we're here. We got you.
Well,
now.
what are we? We're a half hour late. We told you 3:30. It's 4, man. I appreciate you hanging on for us. We're not very good at time management, particularly Wyatt.
No, I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Debatable.
It sounds like you're pretty scared of the snow is what it sounds like.
Oh, yeah, we're not big snow guys.
Yeah. We're not as seasoned as the Oklahoma guys. We're not good with tornadoes and snow.
Tornadoes, I'm not a fan of tornadoes.
He's scared of them. Do you have a tornado shelter at your house?
I used to. I don't now. In this one, I don't.
I got you.
And I can tell you that tornado shelters for me, all they've ever done. My experience in tornado shelters, the last tornado shelter we had was at my mom's house right next door to ours. And the last time I remember dealing with it, I was trying to stuff a 180-pound boxer down the front of the tornado's circling overhead.
Oh,
and the dog was like kicking its legs out, wouldn't let me stuff it in the storm shelter. So I ended up spending them, I was outside while the tornado went over trying to stuff the dog in the shelter while everybody else just sat in the shelter and looked up.
Good God.
So
I want to back up.
I wanted to leave the dog alone. But,
did you say 180-pound boxer?
That's a monster.
he was probably 150 pounds. He wasn't.
That is
he wasn't 180
I didn't
pounds.
think they got that big.
That's still a big boxer.
They get to like 120 or something like that, 80 to 120, and he was pretty big.
When you said that,
he might not have been 150, but he was big. He was big.
I wasn't envisioning you like side arming a dude with boxing gloves on. That's 180 pounds. Really, he's not. Is he talking about an animal?
Yeah. Middleweight, probably.
Anyway, man, we just wanted to have you on. I know you and I have had a lot of conversations together. We've gotten to know each other a little bit. Some in some opens that you've jumped in and around here and just in the industry. It's a small industry. And I think you're an interesting guy. So you got some cool stories to tell. So Want to get you on. Start us with kind of your start in bass fishing, how you kind of got into it.
Man, I literally, this is literal. This isn't as exaggerated as a 180-pound boxer, but my first word was fish.
Oh,
literally.
wow. Seriously.
Yeah, the backyard, I lived in Tulsa, and I lived in a neighborhood in the east side of Tulsa, northeast side of Tulsa, and we had a sandbox in the backyard. But before it was a sandbox, it was actually a koi and goldfish pond. And inside the house was just lined with aquariums, because my dad was just a fish head. He loved fish. And my first word was fish, poking at the aquarium. Damn. And I drowned at 2 years old. I drowned in that fish pond in the backyard. My dad was going to a fishing tournament. I guess I snuck out somehow, climbed the chain link fence. And I was like one of those water babies, you could put in the water and they'd float, like the Nirvana baby.
Yeah.
They had done that with me because we were around water so much. So I just loved water. I still do to this day. And I drowned, and I was literally dead on arrival when they showed up. And of course, I don't remember any of this. It's 2 years old, but this is the story that I get from my parents. And I guess when you're dead on arrival, they still take you to the hospital. I mean, I guess that's how it works. And so on the trip to the hospital, I came to out of nowhere. And like all I've done is, like, literally from that age is been in love probably to the death with a bass, with a stupid fish, trying to chase after fish.
So that's what it is. You're pissed off with the fish.
That is insane story.
Dude, that is wild.
It is. It's one of those stories I don't live with it every day thinking about, but every once in a while when it's triggered, I'm like, yeah, it really is, man. It really is.
Was the water?
I've literally had a connection with fish since then.
Was the water cold?
You don't remember.
Well, but I mean, from the story, what you were told, was it like? I'm just wondering, because I think if you fall in cold water, you have a better chance of being resuscitated.
Right.
You know what? I would have to ask my mom. Obviously, remember she said she looked out the back window and saw my hand floating on the pond, and she was on the phone, freaked out. This was a sliding glass door, so they, it was one of those deals where they thought the door was shut. I was a bigger kid at a young age, and somehow I pushed it open and went back there and climbed in. But we turned that pond into, my dad did, turned it into the largest sandbox in the neighborhood.
Whoa.
So I was like 8 or 10 years old, and it reverted back into a koi pond. And so my childhood, we actually raised koi. My dad had a koi farm, and I mean, I was hand grabbing, netting fish my entire childhood. And so if we weren't raising koi or breeding koi or doing something like that, we were out catching catching bass,
catching fish,
catching catfish, catching crappie, catching fish. Yeah. So
oh, cool.
Wow.
Fishing's been in our blood.
I can't say anybody else has a deeper connection with bass or fishing in general.
Are we allowed to title this episode "John Soukup drowned to death"? No, he drowned to death. He died.
John Soukup died.
No, John Soukup drowned to death.
Clickbait. I mean, you do the YouTube thing. You're stepping up the social media game. What do you think? Is that an appropriate title?
I think at this point in time, you can say whatever you want to say. If it's clickbait, everybody at this point should know. We all know when we see the clickbait. We know it too. Like, I thought just today, I was thinking about making the clickbait of all clickbaits, right? Yeah. And just posting it. And remember that old game when you put your index finger on your thumb, you make the little round circle, right?
Yeah.
And you get the boys on the bus or whatever to look, and then you get to punch them, right?
Yeah.
That's a free one, because they looked at it. I thought about doing the same thing, like you click on it and be like, gotcha. Like, it's just clickbait, right? Gotcha, clickbait, gotcha. Instead of actually having a story. So we should all know. We all fall for clickbait. We already know before we do it.
I'm going to put it, though, because it's not clickbait. It's real.
It's real. It really happened.
It really happened.
John Soukup drowned to death?
Can you drown? I don't think you can drown to life, so drown to death sounds kind of weird.
Well, he died.
He died. I'm going to just put John Soukup died.
Don't do that. That's going to end up really bad for us.
You're right. So when did you start tournament fishing?
At the level we're talking about a little bit later on in life, but at a young age, we didn't have much, money or resources or anything like that. But literally, man, there was a book I carried around. It was like my Bible. It really was, man. It was Roland Martin's 101 Bass Fishing Secrets, and I can remember from like 9 to 13. I mean, I carried it to school with me everywhere. I read that thing. I could quote it. And at 13 years old, by 13, I'd already fished some. My dad had got me in he fished mini boat tournaments. We didn't have any money to do, any kind of gas powered at all.
Yeah.
So occasionally I'd occasionally I'd talk somebody in down the street or somebody with a bass boat to take me to fish a tournament, and I'd fish, but obviously I couldn't really do much of my own. And, I got heavily involved with sports as a teenager, so I really didn't chase. And I'm older. I'm in my 40s, so I wasn't like we had the youth programs back then that they got now. So
yeah,
I went into the sports thing. I mean, like I said, I still fish pretty heavy, but I wasn't not like the kids do now. I got married young, and we got married about 21. And from about 19 to I'd say 27, I didn't fish at all. At all. My wife didn't even know I liked fish. It was just all about like survival and putting food on the table.
Sure.
We had we were like a 19-foot travel trailer, no heat, no running water, no air conditioner, nothing. I mean, we were just poor, and so we worked. And at 27, I bought my first bass boat, and on my own, it was like $8,000 a Stratus. And I started fishing the jackpots. Actually, I started fishing jackpots before I bought that boat, to be honest with you. But I bought that so I could start fishing jackpots. Around 27 years old is when I got back into fishing. But I was such a fish nerd at a young age. It was in my DNA. And I mean, I studied fish and I love fish. And so around that 27 time period, I was a tile setter, and I ran into one of my builders, and he said, "Hey man, why don't you?" He was telling me how to do my tile job. Anybody that's a contractor out there that actually takes pride in what they do and gets really good, it's like, okay, it's one of those eye roll moments. Like, okay, I got to listen to this guy who's not a tile setter, teach me how to be a tile setter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm listening to him. Obviously, he's had some bad experiences. So I looked, and he had a Ranger hat on. I said, "Hey man, how about I just do you the best tile job you've ever seen, and when it's done, you take me out in your Ranger." And he said, "Oh yeah, you're a fishing guy." And I was joking, but I remember this quote like it was yesterday. I said, "Yeah, I'm a closet pro. One of these days I'll come out." and little did I know, because I really didn't know how the system worked at that time, he was a part of the Bass Nation. Oh. And so he invited me to come out and to fish as a co-angler in the Bass Nation.
That's
and
cool.
back then, which it feels, I can't believe it's been this long ago. I think that was in like 09 or 07, maybe.
Yeah.
07. The co-anglers still fished against the boaters. It's half and half days. And my first year tournament fishing, out of big boats, I qualified for the Bass Nation National Championship as a co-angler. I beat all the boaters at the Bass Nation out in Oklahoma. And there was guys like Dale Hightower, future Elite Series guys, Jared Miller, people like that were in it, and really good older seasoned local guys. And I mean, for that to happen my first year, and plus we won a boat, so I bought the boat certificate from the state, and got me a little 19-foot skeeter at that time, and I never put it back down again. I mean, I just ran from it from there, man. Just slowly built back, from that point on.
Really cool.
Yeah. So then, fast forward a little bit to your professional career was started in, and maybe you fished something in between, but the NPFL, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yes, the full-time thing, when I consider the NPFL the pro level, then yeah,
a tour
right
anyway.
Before that was it. The very first year, the year prior to that, or maybe the 2 years prior to that, I did qualify for the Forrest Wood Cup through the Costas.
Oh,
so I had fished the Forrest Wood Cup prior to.
Oh, you did? What year did you fish the Cup?
I think I fished in 18. If 19 was the last year that they had it, 18 was we were on Lake Ouachita.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I was just one of those snot-nosed kids out there that no one knew who they were. They were just sneaking around.
I think
lurking around, seeing if that was the time to come out of the closet or not. I was like kind of peeking. Like, should I come out?
I think you're out of the closet if you fish the Cup.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. I think it's the one Nick LeBrun, when he won the All-American, qualified for that Cup. You remember that?
Absolutely, yeah. He was out there fishing some pads. Yeah, he did fish that. Yeah, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So then you fish. How many years did you fish in PFL? 2 years.
Fished the first 2 years.
Yeah.
And then I missed last year.
Okay. Yeah. So I know you and I have had a couple conversations with the NPFL and whatnot, and so the first year you fishing NPFL, were you fishing the opens to try to qualify? Were you all in on the NPFL at first?
I was. I was just one of those snot-nosed kids out there that no one knew who they were. They just sneaking around.
Or were you kind of, or were you all in on the NPFL at first?
I was all in on the NPFL. You know, I'd spent, so that was like 2021.
Yeah.
The year prior, 2020, I didn't fish any bass tournaments to speak of, other than I think that's when I did fish the BFLs. I was Okie Angler of the Year or something in that year.
Mm-hmm.
But I really wasn't chasing the bass thing. I was actually spending a lot of time with crappie guides, fishing the crop, and I went and fished on the professional crappie trail. I wasn't a professional crappie fisherman before, but because I was so involved with the electronics part of the world,
yeah,
I was going out and I was doing a lot of teaching and training on live scope. And so I decided to jump all in and said, hey, I'm going to prove to everybody that you can use this technology. And so I went crappie fishing for a couple of years, and I got completely away from
bass.
The bass world. But I say that, but here's the deal. I had already been accepted to fish in the NPFL. So I had an entire year that I know I didn't have to go out and try to qualify for anything.
Yeah.
I knew I'd be fishing the NPFL in 21. So by the time my last Wally Marshall that I fished, which was like the Crappie Classic, second time I fished the Crappie Classic. The first one we fished, we got third. Or no, second. We got second. The very first inaugural Wally Marshall, which was also on Hamilton in Arkansas. We got second in it. And then the next year was on Table Rock. I put the crappie rods up, picked the bass rods up, and went straight to the NPFL. And really, that's been my focus ever since, is the bass world.
Yeah, and you had a lot of success at the NPFL, correct? Was it year 1 or year 2? I know you won a bunch of trophies, if I remember correctly.
Well, I'm the inaugural NPFL champion. I'm the only one there ever being. I was the first one to win an NPFL. So that's a pretty special little deal.
Yeah, no doubt. Was that on Eufaula?
Yeah, Eufaula, Alabama.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that tournament.
That's cool, man. Was it the first one? Was it still that giant shield?
It was the giant.
Yeah.
The giant shield.
Yeah. So
I was the first one to pick up that thing and go home and take it and weigh it. I can't remember. I think it weighs like 32 pounds or something. I've weighed it a couple times for fun.
It's a big ass trophy.
Wow. What is the classic trophy weight? Does anybody know that answer?
I think it's more.
I haven't even been able to smell that thing. Let alone weigh it.
Well, neither have I. I just want to know. You think I'm just thinking about holding that thing over your head.
So, how many NPFLs did you win?
I won 2 of the first 3. So I won the first event and I won the third event.
Wow.
And what's really funny about this, and I never went without cashing a check the first year. I got, I think, at least one other top 10, and I ended up 4th in Angler of the Year, which I'm proud of and happy, for that. And then the second year, like, we had that goofy tournament where we only fished one day, whatever lake that was, where the water went up like 20 foot overnight. It was 30
Patman
degrees
or something.
No, not right, Patman. It was over in the hills of, I don't remember. People know that we don't know. They'll tell us where we're at.
Someone will comment.
But so our first 2 days were canceled. So we only had a third day, and we went out on different ramps, separate ramps, and everything. It was the one that. Anyways, I was a couple ounces away from cashing a check there. I only caught like 2 fish that day, and so I didn't cash a check there. But then I cashed a check the rest of the events on the second year in 2022. But it was just kind of one of those undercurrent things. One of those things where you can have a secretly good season and no one's even paying attention because you're doing good but not great.
Yeah.
Like you're coming in 11th all the time, like 11th. I ended up finishing 3rd in AOY in my second season. So I actually had a better finish of the year, but of course the first year, winning the 2, that's what stuck out.
Sure.
And that's when in 2022 I was also striving and fishing at the same time, fishing the Opens to try to qualify for the Elites.
So did you kind of know that you wanted to make a little shift out of the NPFL and go towards something else, or was it kind of more like a contingency? Let's see if we can get to another trailer open.
It was more of a contingency. Not that since I've been a little kid did I not want to be a Bassmaster pro and like hear Bob Cobb's voice like voiced over me fishing or something like that.
Yeah.
A crazy dream that I just never thought was ever going to happen. I never did. I mean, I've always been in love with fishing. I've always done everything I could to just get better and better. And like, I'm really good at fighting the fish and wanting to know. I'm not worrying about what other fishermen are doing, and just like I want to get better as a fisherman. And it's taking me a lot longer to get decent versus some of these younger guys. And when I had the opportunity to fish the NPFL the first year, I really didn't know, and like I said, I had some success, but, a lot of the times I qualified for regional or national tournaments, and I'd stay home and work. I'm a tile setter. And a lot of those tournaments were in like the summertime or something. Yeah. And I mean, that's when I was doing remodels on school. So I couldn't go to them. I'd qualify and just not go.
Dang.
And so I just stayed working. And so I really, you really don't know like how well you can compete. And I mean, I'm confident, and I didn't really have any worries about where I stood. I just wanted to have fun and have. And so when the success took off in the first year in the NPFL, I was kind of took by surprise too, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I mean, I kind of got the taste of the blood, and I wanted to like compete at the highest level. And so it did make me start thinking, can I make the elite? Can I compete on the elite? And I really wasn't going to try to run from the NPFL, but the NPFL had its hiccups at the end of year one. That's when the thought process came in. Like, man, I've got sponsors now. I got to be able to fish at some kind of higher level. And what if the NPFL doesn't, survive? Those were the thoughts at that time.
Yeah, you need somewhere to land.
Yeah, and so I stuck with them at year two happily, but at the same point, I went and fished the Opens because the what if factor, you know what I mean? And then what if I qualify for the elites? I mean, and what if the NPFL, like those were the what ifs. So it was a little bit of contingency, but it was also a fulfillment of a dream. I just didn't expect it to happen the way it happened.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be that quote unquote, I'm going to use the words quote unquote easy. It wasn't easy, but you know what I mean? Like to just go over there and qualify first year.
Yeah.
What year was that when you did qualify through the Opens? Was that 2022?
2022.
Okay, so you were fishing both when you qualified.
Yeah, it was. We qualified in your backyard there at Rayburn. Was the qualification?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the last one of the season.
Mm-hmm.
That was the same year Bradley Hall went qualified.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Got
you. Yep.
Latuso.
Yep.
Hallman.
Yeah, Logan qualified here as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had that giant bag day too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got him in.
Yeah. Got you.
Yeah.
I remember that event very well.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So 2023, you fished the elites. I'll just say it like this. I know it wasn't exactly your dream season, your dream start.
You can harden it up. Say it different. Say it a different way.
Say it a different way.
You're way bigger than me. I'm not gonna say it like that.
No, man.
This phone. Yeah, man. It was a rough year, a rough life outside. It was the epitome of the things on the outside affecting your fishing on the inside. And man, I mean, it never really knocked the confidence out of me as a fisherman. I never engaged a competitive spirit in 2023 at all due to some things on outside of the water. And man, my head's not down. I'm happy. Like I'm looking forward to 24. I have embraced the moniker that I'm the underdog of the elites. There's no one that's done as bad. I finished 100th place in 2023 in the AOI. That's turned around and ended up having a success on the elites. And so I got all the statistics against me. I got all the standings against me. I got everything against me for the odds in the fishing world.
Yeah.
And yet, no whining, no complaining, no acting like a 20-year-old spoiled brat. Like I'm working 6 a.m. to midnight every single day to build a business to be able to support my family and to stay in the fishing industry and to go out and actually catch a bass on national TV on the elite and to raise one up, be proud, and someday qualify for a classic. That's the goal.
Mm.
Yeah, no, I mean, I follow you on your social media and stuff, and we've had some conversations here, especially lately, and I can tell that, man. It seems like you're really mad at him, like you're ready to go back out there and beat up some fish.
Yeah. I think that's the best.
Hungry.
That's the only attitude to have to get to where you want to be this next season, or this year, and I commend you for that. A lot of people would maybe back into a corner and run, but
yeah,
it says a lot about you, man. What going into this year? I mean, this kind of question I would like to know. This is something I would like to ask a lot of the guys at the top level. After having a rough season or a rough event, whatever the case may be, what in your mind differently, how you're going to approach the new season, what you learned from last season? Just kind of talk to us about that. I think a lot of the viewers would want to know, kind of like the inside look of a Elite Series pro, that it just wasn't all just glamorous, year one. Just kind of talk through that and kind of pick your brain on that.
Yeah, man. I mean, going into 2024, I'm going to do my best Taylor Swift impression. I'm going to shake it off. Shake it off.
Man.
I usually do a good job of evaluating my performance, like trying to self-evaluate per day and per event. And last year I just wasn't at that place. And so at the end of the year, I really started to get into that place, and I knew I needed to get back in fishing form. I was going through the motions, and you just cannot go through the emotions on the elite level. Those boys will hurt your feelings. And I'm a perfect example of it. If you go look at my weights, it's not like I did that bad, but I did do bad in the standings. I mean, I got beat up bad. And I had to really evaluate and look at myself and say, what am I doing different at this level? I mean, it's so some things to your point, like if I was just bullet point some of the things that I evaluated in myself, I did spend too much time looking at other fishermen and not focusing on myself. On below the elite level, I'd fished long enough and enough that I didn't care who my competition was. I didn't even care. It was just me and the fish. On the elite level, I noticed myself looking and thinking about and evaluating other people more than just myself and what the fish are doing. So, it's time to mind my own business, if you will, and not worry about what other people think of me, not worrying about the fact that you're not making friends and those guys are intimidating, not worry, cut all that crap out of your head and just focus on me and the fish. That's one. But to break down bullet point the way I fished, it's time to get back to fishing and getting around as many fish as possible. And I did do that at the Opens at the end of the year. And I ended up having 2 top 10 finishes in the last 4 events. And I know it seems so simple. It's such a simple strategy, but it's not, in that there is a part of you that wants to swing, right? You want to go for bigger, badder fish. And yet I've learned through stopping and self-evaluating past events and stuff. And it's like a moniker that I carried with me through the NPFL. Just getting around a bunch of fish, knowing at takeoff that 100% without a doubt, I'm going to catch them. I'm going to catch fish. Now, I may not know exactly how much weight, but I know I'm around them. And then during tournament time, using that time to expand a pattern within a pattern and figure out how to get the bigger fish to bite. And not really trying to just fully figure it out to every detail during practice. Because when you do that, you're fishing scared. Okay, you're fishing scared because you're fishing that you're saying you don't have the ability on tournament day to figure it out. So you're trying to figure it out in practice and then go duplicate it. And we know how well that works. It doesn't work very well.
Not at the top level for sure.
Finding an area, for example, that has some fish in it, or finding the fish behavior where you're like, okay, there's a bunch of fish doing this, and then being able to read, plan A, B, and C to attack those fish if they were to move. Different strategies and techniques to move, and to relocate them on tournament day, and not only relocate them, but how to trigger, confidently trigger a little bit more bigger bites as the days go on. That is the process by which next year I'm gonna really focus and hold myself accountable. That's what I'm looking at doing.
I understand that. So, just looking at you in your previous success, and I don't know if this is getting off of topic by any means. I think it's not, but you've won, right? You've won multiple events, and so what it takes to win. And a lot of anglers, you may see, whether some people agree with this or not, but you may see somebody that competes at a really high level and competes for wins, but never wins. But when they do get that win, it seems like the wins start falling. So you have won. Did you fish that way in those wins? Was it just like, hey, I'm putting myself around fish and I'll figure out the tournament as it goes? Or was it like when you won, it was like, hey, I'm fishing to go get this, like to win this thing. I'm not fishing scared. Can you look back and reflect on how you fished then versus how you fish this year in a way?
Yeah, 100% I can. And I'll add something to your question is that not only are these national wins, but these are multi-day event wins, right?
Right.
Three
right.
minimum 3-day event wins.
Correct. You fish a complete event to win the tournament.
Yeah, and so with that being said, practice consisted a lot more of confidently finding a lot of fish and knowing that I was going to take off on day one. I mean, there was zero concern that I was going to catch. I knew I was going to catch fish, and a lot of fish.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to catch them. Now, so I would start on the most fish on day one, and the easiest to catch. So on the first event, and I wouldn't pass fish to fish. That's another thing. Because maybe I would find, like, on Eufaula, I found like 30 different brush pile areas that had a lot of fish on them, and that I was confident I could catch. Well, you don't want to get caught up just bouncing before and spend a lot of time. So I started, and I was fishing from north south and then back up. So I started on the most northern one that I wanted, and I started slowly working my way down on day one. And as I got through and started rotating, I started, filling the live well, and I started calling. And then by the end of day one, I catch a couple fives, and then at the very end, I catch another 5 or something. I end up with 20 pounds or something of that nature. Well, what that was teaching me after day one was, what the fish were doing as the from the morning on to the afternoon. And then not only that, but what the bigger fish were doing. So day two, I tuned into it even better. And I was able to eliminate some of my first stops and kind of focus it down. Now I had it focused down to like a 5 spot rotation that I really felt like the bigger fish were hanging around. And I was also tuning in a little bit more towards their behavior. Because they weren't living on the brush piles in the morning, they were living on the flats, and then they'd rotate to the brush piles as the noon came around, and then they'd run up the guts as the sun shined more. So there was a little bit of staying with that pattern, and I was able to spend more time and just putting more time mathematically. You're casting more often at bigger fish. I was able to catch like 21 or something pounds, increase my weight. And then going into day 3, I didn't catch that much weight, but what happened was we had a bunch of local tournaments drop off, and a lot of guys, I had some of my best holes, like we're literally getting, hole jumps and stuff, and it happened to everybody. So all of our weights kind of dropped on day 3, but I still pulled out the victory. Now, the next win that I had was on Harris chain. It was very similar to that same breakdown in that day 1, I knew there was a shad spawn going on, and I knew I could limit out pretty quick doing the shad spawn. So day 1, I go get my limit pretty quick. I got like 12, 13 pounds or something of that nature. But I knew that that's not where my big bites would come. And my big bites would come from flipping a heavier weight in the grass. And so then I was able to transition and start flipping the heavier weight in the grass, which I did. And as I'm flipping the heavier weight in the grass, I started picking up some bigger bites. And I can't remember exactly what I weighed in, but maybe like 19 pounds, high 18s or 19 on day 1. I can't remember. I'd have to look it up, to be honest with you. And then day 2, I go and do the shad spawn thing again, and I fill my limit out, and then there's some cloud cover. So instead of going to the grass, which I had found that the fish were in the grass, but they weren't really biting unless the sun was shining in the grass. The big ones, you can get bit, but not the big ones. I went and I threw a frog around, and I hadn't thrown a frog all practice, and I ended up catching a couple 5s doing that. And the sun popped out, so I reverted right back to the flipping. And towards the end of the day, I got on a little, I think I caught like 20 or 30 fish with hardly moving the boat. And one of them happened to be like a 6. And I think I weighed in like 20 or 21 pounds on day 2.
Dang.
And I'm still a couple pounds back from the leader. I think I might have been in 3rd or 4th place going in the final day. But man, I got my trajectories going up. And not only that, but I'm getting tuned in to how to get these bigger bites.
Yeah.
All my biggest bites have been on big weight flipping in the grass. So I made a decision day 3, and this is where your closing statement comes in. How do you close? Well, do you go back and catch your easy limit? I said, no, man, I'm only going to stick with bigger fish that day.
Going for it.
And so I stuck with the bigger stick. And I remember on day 3, man, I think it was like 1 o'clock, and I only had like 13 pounds or something in the boat. And I did start pulling out the other sticks thinking, man, maybe this isn't working.
Yeah, not happening.
And then all of a sudden, about 2 o'clock or something, I popped like a 713 flipping. My weight jumps all the way up to like 19. And I mean, I kind of felt like I knew that I had it. And maybe it was 20. And then within another hour after that, I caught another 7 something. And so I end up weighing in 22 something pound sack or something of those nature. But the trajectory was there, right? I went from like a 19 to a 21 to a 22 or 23 pound. My weight went up every single day. And that was directly correlated with my ability to focus on getting around a bunch of fish and then tuning in as the tournament went on. Now, I will say with the elites, I don't know that I would have won those events if I'd been fishing against the elites at that time, because these boys tune in on day one like it's day 2 or 3 on day 1, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm having to work on
speeding up the curve a little bit.
Yeah. That way I can make that second day cut into the third day. I haven't made a Saturday cut on the elites yet. I'm not finished in the top 50, not once.
Yeah, it's kind of like they talk about college football to the NFL. It's fast.
Yeah,
it's fast. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, that question popped in my mind. I figured it'd be pretty cool to pick your brain on that, and it sounds like from your wins and your success there, you fished pretty free and pretty open-minded, and you were not really letting the outside pressure, the external pressure get to you that maybe you kind of talked about on the elites, not focusing on the right things. It sounds like a more of a on the mental side of the deal.
100%. And it's just, there's no room for error on the elites for mental mistakes at all.
Yeah. Right.
I've expressed this to a few people on some podcasts. They've asked me, but so I'm a statistical guy. I go back and study stats to find that, and I use that kind of as my bumper link, right? I'm a numbers guy when it comes to functioning in life and patterns and stuff. And so I finished 100th, and next year I got to finish 70th or better to stay on the elites. That's just the fact. It's just the way it works, the way the cutoff works. And so, I was like, well, how much better did I need to fish this year to get the 70th? And basically, it was an average of 20 points per event that I needed to do better to make that 70th place from where I was at in 100.
Gotcha.
And I was like, okay, that's significant, but man, I know I can do it. I can fish better, just one fish here, one fish there. And I'm like, okay, and I was like, but I wonder what the difference is between getting 70th, which is 71st is getting cut off the elite.
Yeah.
And 40th, which is qualifying for the classic.
Yeah.
And did you know that the difference per event is only 10 points?
That's it.
10 points average
10
per
points
event.
more.
So that shows you how fine of a line it is between literally making a classic and getting cut from the elites next year.
It's tight.
Just 10 points per event.
Tight margin.
Wow.
Right.
That's really cool numbers.
So what are some of your goals? I mean, I don't know if you're a goals guy, but are you kind of setting some goals for yourself? Like, are you just like shooting for the moon? Like, I want to win them all. I want to, go to the classic, win AOY. I mean, I think that's everybody's goal, right? But what are some?
Yeah, man, I saw these guys hitting the gym and doing these cold plunges and stuff, and I realized that I'm just not going to be able to make that happen. So I'm going for big sexy of the year. I'm going for the plus size model of the elite. I figured like kind of the full build, full look, I think the bear look, I think the women like that,
Sure.
dad
Full
bod.
figured.
So yeah, that's one. That's one of them.
So eating right.
No.
Bulking up for this season.
I'm eating good, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No, I didn't go and I didn't do the preparation for the season like I did last year, which is weird. But I felt a little bit of a relief for it. I don't even have a boat yet. I don't have a boat yet. I haven't touched my rods. I haven't pulled my stuff out. But what I've done is I've gone home and I've worked really hard at building a business so that I can get all that stress out of my life.
Yeah.
And going into the first couple of events that we're fishing, I already know the top 5 baits and strategies that I would use if I was going. Like, I am a wintertime fisherman. I am a pre-spawn late winter fisherman.
Yeah.
And anytime I go out fishing, and I've done it for years, I know what 5 baits and rods I'm going to bring with me.
Yep.
So why am I overthinking this thing and trying to go with 10, 15 because I saw so-and-so on the YouTube channel catch something somewhere? Like, that's what I'm eliminating out of my life this year. Completely not focused on what anybody else does, not even caring about it, not listening to Doc Talk, not listening to nothing. I chose to sign up for the NPFL this year as well. So I'm fishing both NPFL and Elite. The reason being is I started evaluating myself only fishing the Elite, and I started feeling the anxiety of hyper over focusing on my next event. And I wanted a distraction, a healthy distraction. And I figured the more I fish, the more I can kind of prove myself. So I went to the NPFL in hopes that helps me not hyper or over focus. Like, instead of focusing on the first Toledo Band event right now, I'm trying to get my business together so that way my boat hopefully comes in time. Hopefully, maybe it won't. And
you need a boat, man. I mean, you need to borrow one of our rigs.
I might. That's the whole reason for the podcast. Anybody's got a boat up? No. So I might, literally show up with 5 rods and some tackle and jump in a boat and go and fish without a lot of pre-practice, without a lot of keep those instincts going, man. So I trust in those instincts more than my.
Roll up on Derby Day. What'd I miss? Where are we going? All right, let's go. So before we switch to business stuff, because you and I have had some conversations about this new business start, and I think it's a great idea. Before we go to that, I mean, you got to give us some more on the boat thing here. You do not have a boat.
Well, I've got an old boat. I've fished out of an Express for the last 4 years.
Yeah, I knew that.
Since NPFL. But I wasn't technically on the Express team.
Okay.
They sent me a contract last year in like September or something to sign. Like, I wasn't on I operated as if, but I wasn't technically under contract.
Okay.
It was more of a mutual friendship relationship. And man, due to hard times in life, financial hard times and stuff, listen, man, there is a point where it comes down to some money, and I needed to be able to, 2 things. I had to make a decision. There's 2 things that happened. On the financial side, I needed to be able to do something that would allow me to have some financial growth in the industry.
Mm-hmm. And
so I had an opportunity to go with a certain company, and that actually fell through. And so at the last minute, a Blazer dealer gave me a discount on a boat. So I've got a Blazer ordered. But the main purpose for this, at the last 2 events, Lake St. Lawrence River and Lake
Champlain?
Champlain, isn't it? Yeah, it is Champlain.
Yeah.
Dude, it was super windy. And I had found fish, man. And listen, previous couple of years before last year, I could live scoop out in the middle, and I had it all to myself. And I was doing it, catching fish, filling my limit, and that was great. Last year, everybody else was doing it, and then they're not just doing it, they're doing it as well or better than I am.
Yeah.
But what I did when I was on Champlain, I was out there in some 3-footers, and I couldn't even sit on the front seat of my boat on the Express because that boat is so light. The Express is so light. The front of it's just coming out of the water, and I can't even stand on my seat. And the trolling motor's coming out, so the spot lock's kicking off. And I look over and I land at my Marshall, and there's a couple guys in the fiberglass boats right next to me, and they're not even with seats. They're just standing there like talking to each other. I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm fighting it. And so, man, listen, next year could potentially be my last year on the Elite.
Yeah.
And if it's my last year on the Elite, I got to go out with everything in hand, right? I got to make sure everything's in order. And our last 2 events are, once again, Champlain and St. Lawrence. And so it will come down. We just went over the points. It's going to come down to the very last point, very, very last point. And I don't want to not qualify for the Elites because I don't have the right equipment.
Yeah.
And I felt handicapped in that Express boat. We're going out of Waddington on St. Lawrence, and I know everybody's going to run to the lake. I saw what the lake could do itself. And I mean, my gut was telling me I imagined myself running in that fiberglass or that Express boat. I couldn't even imagine making the run all the way out to the main lake with that 100 mile run in the rough water. I mean, I've done it before, and it beat the snot out of me, and it didn't have the capacity of fuel to make the run. And so I needed to get into a fiberglass boat that could make the run and not be ill equipped by equipment. So yeah, I'm making that transition. But with that being said, I didn't find out until December that the original fiberglass company that was gonna provide a boat for me backed out of the deal after they they promised me verbally. They ran my credit, which came back good. They gave me an order form to order the boat, and everything was good to go. I've been talking to them all year. Everything was good to go until the last minute. They call and say, no, we decided to not work with you. And dumbing me for never having the things in writing that I should have had. And even if they did, what am I going to do? Go sue people in the industry? How's that going to look? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So like I've just had to suck it up. I called a friend and said, and to be honest with you, it hurt me even bigger because the dealer that I was working with dealt that kind of boat as well, and they were going to give me some cash so I lost all that opportunity, lost all that money, and man, I mean, I had to find. Thankfully, the Blazer guys gave me an offer to get into something. Otherwise, I'd probably, I don't even know what I'd be doing. To be honest with you.
Man, that's
wild. So
that's
I'm just like mind blown that your tournament rig for the season isn't even in your possession. Maybe not even built.
It's not built. It was in I checked on it. It got taken out of the mold this week. It's supposed to be done like January 29th, maybe for pickup the 30th, but that's literally when I'm at the first event in the NPFL. So I'm looking at like the 31st is a Wednesday, which is the off day for the NPFL.
Go scoop it up.
Somehow driving down from Logan Martin, going down to Pensacola, Florida, picking the boat, bringing it to Trent Palmer with Sonar Pros, so they can try to rig it, bringing all my new stuff for the boat, like hauling that with me to Logan Martin, dropping that off, and then having the wrap guy, try to wrap the boat and get the boat rigged that week, so then I can haul it back for a week and a half later to go to Toledo Bend. That's
break it in during practice.
Thanks for throwing some anxiety on me, guys. I've been trying to push that thought for.
Sorry, man. No, you got this. You got this, man.
Yeah, you got it.
You know how rigging a new boat is. Everything's gonna work flawlessly the first time you put it in the water.
Yeah.
No issues. I expect nothing.
I was throwing the sea deck on my Express last year at Okeechobee the day before the tournament while everybody else was getting rigged and ready. I'm out there, like physically, like literally in the yard.
Put some flooring.
Installing it myself.
You should lay some tile in there.
And then I put the boat in to try to take it off, and the boat won't go on plane because it's got like the props been installed wrong from the factory, and like I'm like, dude, like it's not just me. I rig boats. We rig boats for a while.
Yeah.
The fishing industry is the most unorganized industry, and it is the way it is, man. I've seen a few guys that have control of it, that they're bigger name guys, like your Jason Christie's and stuff like that can demand, like, hey, I want my boat in whatever September or whatever. They get it a lot earlier,
Yeah. No, it's for those of you who didn't catch my sarcasm a second ago. Anytime you get a new boat, new rig, it's almost a guarantee. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of what it is and what you got to do to remedy it. There's always some little crimp or something that is missing or whatever. It's just it doesn't matter what brand. It's just part of the process, especially nowadays when you put 742 inches of screens and trolling motors on your power poles and everything. It's a process, but you're right, man. There's a lot of disorganization. You hear it all the time. I mean, yours sounds a little on the extreme side.
It is on a sliding scale. We're over there.
But there are dudes finalizing deals still right now that, sponsor deals, or guys that it's always like a rush to get your boat done. It seems like for most everybody.
Yeah. So today, as we speak today, it's Tuesday, the 16th. I don't know when this is going to air, but so the 19th, I'm looking at my calendar. I've got a deadline for my jersey. I've got to have my jersey designed by then. Well, I don't have my boat wrap design. We're going to build my boat wrap design based off my jersey, based off my boat wrap design. I have two non-endemic sponsors that we've been trying to close a deal on, and they're a go, but we just don't know. They don't know, and I don't know how much that quantity is going to be, how big of a sponsor, because we're also trying to tie them into some endemic deals. I'm helping them on the business side, and so we're waiting for other companies to say yay or nay to their proposal. Yay, will it be this year or will it be next year kind of deal? And then that will affect the size of their, and most likely those aren't going to be decided. So we've got to figure out some kind of compromise of, how much do they support now? Like who knows? I mean, I might be in a situation where my truck and my jersey look one way, and 2 or 3 events in, it changes because the money changes.
Wow.
Dang, man, that's
being an Elite Series pro must be so nice.
Yeah, it's so glamorous. The boats, you just get to pick your boat, and everybody gives it to you. And
get a free boat and free
all
ride.
kinds of money falling out of the trees.
Must be nice.
I'll tell you what, man. I got a lot of 40, 50-year-old men that slide into my DMs, send me some sweet messages about how bad my fish was not really 10 pounds that I said was a 10-pounder. But other than that, I don't get any secret DMs or any love. No, doesn't happen.
Well, man, I want to circle over to your business now. I mean, you and I have had a couple conversations. I think that's actually kind of how we got to know each other in the beginning was, you got an entrepreneurial spirit. I've been involved in some ownership in the fishing world and fishing industry myself, and you've got a new company going.
Yeah, I do. I've slowly worked into building this over the last year and decided to go full steam into it. I kind of played around with the idea last year and I decided, hey man, this is what I want to do. I want to be in the fishing world. I want to be in the outdoors industry. And so I've started a company called Save More Outdoors. Mm-hmm. And we're online at SaveMoreOutdoors.com. And we do have a retail front that's basically for our branding and marketing so we can sell. But we buy liquidated and overstock products. And we have an extensive fish and tackle supply to start with, but we'll do a lot of things outdoors in the outdoor space. But we're also a distributor to other tackle stores. So if anybody's looking for like bargain bin prices of really, actually good products, a lot of these things I'm going to use this year on the Elite just to prove concept to people that they're still good. Hit us up. You can go online and click the become a dealer tab. And I mean, dude, I think, hey, I just bought a whole bunch of chatterbaits, jackhammers. Whole bunch of jackhammers.
Wait, what?
We're selling those things for like, don't quote me exactly, but I think we're selling for like $12.70 or something.
Jackhammers?
Jackhammers. Yeah, I mean, we're doing we're grand opening sale. You know what I mean? So we got them on sale. I don't think anybody can beat our price. And so if you're a distributor, I mean, we can even beat that price as a distributor. So we're a distributor. If anybody's a dealer, they're looking for them. They can reach out to us. We got a whole bunch of them.
Dang. No, I think the concept's a great idea. As a former tackle shop owner, one of our biggest draws for customers, and I think something that our customers enjoy all the time, there's always a bargain bin, right? You go to most tackle shops, there's always a bargain bin. Whether it's something that we over-ordered and undersold, whatever the circumstance is, there's always things that, or, a bait company discontinues it. For whatever reason, I've seen companies discontinue products that are awesome baits, and you're like, why are you discontinuing that? That's insane. But bargain bins really kind of drive some foot traffic and get customers in there digging through a bargain bin, killing time. I mean, it's hard to pass up a bargain bin. So I see Wyatt over there looking at the old jackhammers. I'll Save More Outdoors.
Yeah, I'm looking at the jackhammers.
Go ahead and create a login and make sure you buy all those up.
Yeah, got them on sale.
Yeah, I mean, I dare you to buy me out. I dare you to buy me out.
How many jackhammers you got?
Me?
I got a lot.
Oh, no.
I got enough. There is limited supplies of certain colors, but I think right now we're showing quantities of like 50 of everything. But I think we got more put back somewhere, waiting for a rainy day. We're going to save some for the Classic, but we'll try to sell everything we can before the Classic because we're going to do we're thinking about doing like a buy 10 get 10 for $10 something with the Classic. But that's that'll be in March. But if we sell them all before then I'll change and do something different. But yeah, it's a limited supply situation because, we're buying things from people that, that opportunity may not come back around.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
One thing that we do have that I'm excited about is I've developed a frog called the Hypnotoad. So the Mojo Fishing brand, Save More is a distributor for Mojo Fishing brand, and we've got a frog called the Hypnotoad. We got a poppin' and what we call our hoppin', which is just a regular style frog.
Yeah.
And that frog, if you look on there, I think we're selling for in the $6 range, and that's a $12 frog, and it is an awesome frog. It is super soft. I used it all last year. The softest frog in the market, and it floats. The poppin' frog itself floats extremely high and can walk with the beginner can walk that frog.
Dang.
So if you're a guy that likes to walk a frog real slow, especially like over bed fish and stuff like that, this is the one. I mean, and the white frog, the snow white, is the brightest white frog you've ever seen. There's no. If I'll put it next to another brand's frog, and their frog will look yellow compared to this.
Nice. So
you that's another cool thing we're doing.
So you got a crazy deal on the old floating worm kit right here. 47 floating worms for $6. If you're a float worm guy,
dude, I like a float worm in springtime spawn.
That's
you see me do a little, you know?
We got a couple of the bright colors, man. A couple of the colors that you don't see: the orange, the yellows, the browns, the pink.
Yeah. There you go, guys. Go check that out. Check it out.
Yeah, man. I like it. Didn't you say you had some Black Rifle coffee stuff too?
Well, we do have Black Rifle coffee. If you guys are interested in Black Rifle coffee RTDs, we don't have them on the website. We do have off-website deals for those people that are dealers, and they'll get emails and some specific things. But if you're a dealer or if you're just looking for Black Rifle coffee, I can't say the price, but if you like Black Rifle coffee RTDs, hit me up, email me, john@savemoreoutdoors.com.
All right.
I promise you, you will not find a better price on earth.
Oh.
I promise you.
Buy in bulk.
You will think that I pulled up in a Brinks truck and I robbed Black Rifle.
I was gonna say, man, is this like some sketchy? Like I got some stuff. Come look at my van, like some.
Yeah, scratch off serial numbers.
Yeah.
It is.
He said it is.
I thought about pulling up the lights and just rolling out the old the old van, just sliding door and being like, "Hey, you want some Black Rifle?
You want some coffee?" That's hilarious.
There you go, man.
No, man, I think that's cool. I think it's a great idea. I hope it works out, and hope you sell a bunch of stuff. I can't see how you can't, especially if you're gonna throw deals like that with jackhammers out. Like, I'm gonna call you as soon as the episode's over, and we're gonna work out a little something.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. What else you got for this man?
Man, that's really it, dude. I like it.
You like it?
I like it,
man. Well, hang on. We got a closing questions.
Oh yeah, we have the closing question.
Yeah.
All right, so this is what we're gonna start doing this. Maybe it's stupid, maybe it's not, but I'm more interested. You get 2 rods, you get 2 combos for the rest of your tournaments. What are they?
Yeah, we're talking baits.
7.3. Baits.
I mean combos, like as in like your whole setup. You get 2 setups. What do you got on the deck? Only 2.
It got confusing. And I'm supposed to fish an entire elite season year, or what kind of year am I fishing?
The rest of your life.
Am I fishing tournaments or am I fishing for fun?
Tournaments for sure. Because we did that with Dakota.
Would it be different?
What do you mean? I don't know. It could be.
I'm asking you. Would it be different if?
Yeah, it would be different.
Okay.
100% would be different.
Let's do tournaments first and then fun fishing second.
Okay. If I was tournament fishing, I would probably have a 6'10" to 7 foot jerkbait rod, and I'd have a jerkbait on there.
All right.
And obviously, I've got a live scope, so that's what I'm doing. And then the second one is a spinning rod, and up until the last year, I'd say it was just an 1/8 ounce shaky head that I'd have on it. But I may have to adjust that to a drop shot. So I'd have to really think about that. The drop shot may be more effective, over the whole. So I probably would, because we're talking about also smallmouth. So I'd almost tie on an 1/8 ounce shaky head, 7-inch green pumpkin, but I'd have to cut it and I'd have to put a drop shot on because I got smallmouth I got to fish for. So those 2 baits would be in rod combinations with what I'd use for my tournament.
Drop shot and a jerk bait.
Nice,
dude. I like that. I like that.
But if I was just fun fishing, I'd have 60-pound braid and a frog and that hypnotoad on.
Uh-huh.
And when I got bored with that, I'd probably tie on a spook and I'd probably throw that around.
The man is a top water connoisseur.
Nice.
I like it.
Yep.
I like it.
Those are
it's
good.
Good.
Answers.
Great answers. Well, man, we're gonna turn you loose, and I think we'll probably have you back on, see how Save More Outdoors going, see how the elite season's going.
Yeah, have you on. Yep.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Check in, see how the boat's working out.
Yeah, if you come to Toledo and You need a boat.
Yeah, that'd be a good time.
I mean, I run a cat. Shane runs a Skeeter, but you're a bigger guy. I run a Cougar. I don't know if you'd like to fit in that or not.
He'd make that Cougar look like a canoe.
Jack York ran a Cougar.
like a paddle board. That's what it would look like for him.
What if that Cougar could ride any of those Toledo bent stumps very well? If I could just take it right over him.
Oh, well.
He's tested it on a few.
It's fully insured. We appreciate it, man.
Guys. Appreciate you guys.
All right, man. Take care.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Mr. John Soukup got into some really cool stuff there. I liked when we talked about, like, that transition from the NPFL to the Opens to the Elites, you know?
Yeah, man.
It's a different world.
Yeah, I think it was definitely between the ears for him. I mean, he said that, and I just think, you know, I think he's a lot more. He seems a lot more focused, and ready to go get him.
Yeah,
the dude can clearly catch him. I mean, like you said, he rolled up. Like, I know he hadn't even planned on fishing opens because I talked to him before the season started. He's like, man, I'm not going to fish very many opens. I might jump at one here and there. And his elite season wasn't going great, and he's like, I got to go get some opens and just get in some tournaments and keep fishing and, you know, figure this thing out. He jumps in 4 opens and top 10's 2 of them.
Oh, really? This year?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he top 10 Harris chain the last one. That's the last time I saw him in person.
Good deal.
Great fisherman, cool dude, entrepreneur. He's always doing something. I doubt Save More Outdoors will be the last business he does. The dude just has one of those minds. He's always kind of looking for something to create.
I wish him nothing but the best. We'll be paying attention. You know, we'll be coming with the juice all year long, and hopefully
he dropped a little juice in there too.
A little juice. Little nugget.
Woo!
Oh, man. But, yeah, this one will be posted.
I don't know if we'll do it this week or next week.
We'll figure it out.
We'll see when internet sucks. It takes forever to upload.
Yeah.
That's also part of the reason we don't do live yet.
Everything's frozen.
It's frosty. But, I'm going to try to get that one. Dakota's uploaded, and then I'll try. Then we'll try to get Soukups up. I don't know if we'll do 2 this week or, you know, spread it out. But we got a derb.
We got a derby this week.
Finally, we get to go. Like caged animals. Just turn us loose. I'm ready to go out there.
It's time.
I want to hear
Next time we see y'all on the pod, we'll probably be talking about it. We'll be talking. Yeah.
Get the net.
That's how I said that.
Yeah.
Because I was freaking out, man.
Yeah, get the net. All right.
All right, guys. Till next time.